But who prays for Satan? Who, in 18 centuries, has had the common humanity to pray for the one sinner that needed it most? If you have nothing to say, say nothing. Don't wait, the time is never just right. Men are like bank accounts. The more money, the more interest they generate. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. Stripping away the irrational, the illogical, and the impossible, I am left with atheism. I can live with that. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel that you too can become great. When you are seeking to bring big plans to fruition, it is important with whom you regularly associate. Hang out with friends who are like-minded and who are also designing purpose-filled lives. Similarly, be that kind of a friend for your friends. Apparently there is nothing that cannot happen today, so avoid using the word very because it's lazy. A man is not very tired, he is exhausted. Don't use very sad, use morose. Language was invented for one reason, boys, to woo women, and, in that endeavor, laziness will not do. It also won't do in your essays. What you do today is important, because you are sacrificing a day of your life for it. The common eye sees only the outside of things, and judges by that, but the seeing eye pierces through and reads the heart and the soul, finding their capacities which the outside didn't indicate or promise, and which the other kind of eye couldn't detect. The dog is a gentleman, I hope to go to his heaven not man's. To lodge all power in one party and keep it there is to ensure bad government and the sure and gradual deterioration of the public morals. When you fish for love, bait with your heart, not your brain. The more things are forbidden, the more popular they become. The past does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. The most interesting information comes from children, for they tell all they know and then stop. Sacred cows make the best hamburger. If you hold a cat by the tail, you learn things you cannot learn any other way. The secret to success: find out where people are going and get there first. There is no such thing as a new idea. It is impossible. We simply take a lot of old ideas and put them into a sort of mental kaleidoscope. We give them a turn and they make new and curious combinations. We keep on turning and making new combinations indefinitely, but they are the same old pieces of colored glass that have been in use through all the ages. There's always something about your success that displeases even your best friends. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. Never put off till tomorrow what you can do day after tomorrow just as well. Man is a religious animal. He is the only religious animal. He is the only animal that has the true religion, several of them. He is the only animal that loves his neighbor as himself and cuts his throat if his theology isn't straight. He has made a graveyard of the globe in trying his honest best to smooth his brother's path to happiness and heaven. The higher animals have no religion. And we are told that they are going to be left out in the hereafter. I wonder why? It seems questionable taste. Let us live so that when we come to die even the undertaker will be sorry. A banker is a fellow who lends you his umbrella when the sun is shining, but wants it back the minute it begins to rain. Do something every day that you don't want to do. This is the golden rule for acquiring the habit of doing your duty without pain. A tax is a fine for doing well, a fine is a tax for doing wrong. College is a place where a professor's lecture notes go straight to the student's lecture notes, without passing through the brains of either. Additional problems are the offspring of poor solutions. It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. Get your facts first, then you can distort them as you please. Heaven is by favor. If it were by merit, your dog would go in and you would stay out. Of all the creatures ever made, man is the most detestable. Of the entire brood, he is the only one that possesses malice. He is the only creature that inflicts pain for sport, knowing it to be pain. There was never yet an uninteresting life. Such a thing is an impossibility. Inside of the dullest exterior there is a drama, a comedy, and a tragedy. Life would be infinitely happier if we could only be born at the age of 80 and gradually approach 18. Great people are those who make others feel that they, too, can become great. Laughter is the greatest weapon we have, and we, as humans, use it the least. Education, the path from cocky ignorance to miserable uncertainty. When one has tasted watermelon, he knows what the angels eat. When your friends begin to flatter you on how young you look, it's a sure sign you're getting old. Data is like garbage. You'd better know what you are going to do with it before you collect it. I didn't attend the funeral, but I sent a nice letter saying I approved of it. A good lawyer knows the law, a clever one takes the judge to lunch. Go to heaven for the climate, hell for the company. Some people give their problems swimming lessons instead of drowning them. I saw a startling sight today, a politician with his hands in his own pockets. Don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first. You can't break a bad habit by throwing it out the window. You've got to walk it slowly down the stairs. Begin with the determination to succeed, and the work is half done already. Comparison is the death of joy. Adam was the luckiest man in the world. He had no mother-in-law. The inability to forget is far more devastating than the inability to remember. When the doctrine of allegiance to party can utterly upend a man's moral constitution and make a temporary fool of him besides, what excuse are you going to offer for preaching it, teaching it, extending it, perpetuating it? Shall you say, the best good of the country demands allegiance to party? Shall you also say it demands that a man kick his truth and his conscience into the gutter, and become a mouthing lunatic? Besides, the trouble is not in dying for a friend, but in finding a friend worth dying for. I hate to hear people say this judge will vote so and so, because he is a Democrat, and this one so and so because he is a Republican. It is shameful. The judges have the Constitution for their guidance. They have no right to any politics save the politics of rigid right and justice when they are sitting in judgment upon the great matters that come before them. The best cure for Christianity is reading the Bible. When in doubt, tell the truth. It will confound your enemies and astound your friends. The difference between those that succeed and those that fail is, those that succeeded tried. I don't like to commit myself about heaven and hell. You see, I have friends in both places. If you want love and abundance in your life, give it. To be satisfied with what one has, that is wealth. I cannot help but notice that there is no problem between us that cannot be solved by your departure. Most men die at 27, we just bury them at 72. Most people can't bear to sit in church for an hour on Sundays. How are they supposed to live somewhere very similar to it for eternity? We are all ignorant, just about different things. You believe in a book that has talking animals, wizards, witches, demons, sticks turning into snakes, burning bushes, food falling from the sky, people walking on water, and all sorts of magical, absurd and primitive stories, and you say that we are the ones that need help? A little lie can travel halfway around the world while truth is still lacing up her boots. A patriot is someone who stands for his country always, and for his government when it is deserved. A gentleman is someone who knows how to play the banjo and doesn't. I do not fear death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born, and had not suffered the slightest inconvenience from it. There are basically two types of people. People who accomplish things, and people who claim to have accomplished things. The first group is less crowded. The nation is divided, half patriots and half traitors, and no man can tell which from which. I am pushing 60. That is enough exercise for me. Courage is not the lack of fear. It is acting in spite of it. Few things are more irritating than when someone who is wrong is also very effective in making his point. Strange a God who mouths golden rules and forgiveness, then invented hell, who mouths morals to other people and has none himself, who frowns upon crimes yet commits them all, who created man without invitation, then tries to shuffle the responsibility for man's acts upon man, instead of honorably placing it where it belongs, upon himself, and finally with altogether divine obtuseness, invites this poor, abused slave to worship him. When the end of the world comes, I want to be in Kentucky, because everything there happens 20 years after it happens anywhere else. It's no wonder that truth is stranger than fiction. Fiction has to make sense. Never have a battle of wits with an unarmed person. Never have a battle of wits with an unarmed person. There is nothing to be learned from the second kick of a mule. They did not know it was impossible, so they did it. God created war so that Americans would learn geography. Of all God's creatures, there is only one that cannot be made slave of the leash. That one is the cat. If man could be crossed with the cat, it would improve the man, but it would deteriorate the cat. I wonder if God created man because he was disappointed with the monkey. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel that you, too, can become great. A man's character may be learned from the adjectives which he habitually uses in conversation. Eat a live frog first thing in the morning and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. If you pick up a starving dog and make him prosperous, he will not bite you. This is the principal difference between a dog and man. There is no security in life, only opportunity. Do the right thing. It will gratify some people and astonish the rest. Good judgment is the result of experience and experience the result of bad judgment. Censorship is telling a man he can't have a steak just because a baby can't chew it. The newspaper that obstructs the law on a trivial pretext, for money's sake, is a dangerous enemy to the public weal. That awful power, the public opinion of a nation, is created in America by a horde of ignorant, self-complacent simpletons who failed at ditching and shoemaking and fetched up in journalism on their way to the poorhouse. If we would learn what the human race really is at bottom, we need only observe it in election times. Make your vocation your vacation. That is the secret to success. Behind every successful man, there is a woman, and behind every unsuccessful man, there are two. The best way to cheer yourself up is to try to cheer somebody else up. A pessimist is a well-informed optimist. An open mind leaves a chance for someone to drop a worthwhile thought in. Never allow someone to be your priority while allowing yourself to be their option. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. Just because you're taught that something's right and everyone believes it's right, it don't make it right.
A little more kindness, a little less speed, a little more giving, a little less greed, a little more smile, a little less frown, a little less kicking, a man while he's down, a little more we, a little less I, a little more laugh, a little less cry, a little more flowers, on the pathway of life, and fewer on graves, at the end of the strife.
Congress, America's only true criminal class. If your only tool is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. If ignorance is bliss, why isn't the world happier? Every civilization carries the seeds of its own destruction, and the same cycle shows in them all. The republic is born, flourishes, decays into plutocracy, and is captured by the shoemaker whom the mercenaries and millionaires make into a king. The people invent their oppressors, and the oppressors serve the function for which they are invented. In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man, and brave, and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. I shall never use profanity except in discussing house rent and taxes. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. I do not wish any reward but to know I have done the right thing. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Those who do not read have no advantage over those who cannot read. Great things can happen when you don't care who gets the credit. The truth hurts, but silence kills. Don't dream your life, but live your dream. Some people get an education without going to college. The rest get it after they get out. Suppose you were an idiot, and suppose you were a member of Congress. But I repeat myself, temper is what gets most of us into trouble. Pride is what keeps us there. Consider the average intelligence of the common man, then realize 50% are even stupider. Success is a journey, not a destination. It requires constant effort, vigilance and re-evaluation. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. We have the best government that money can buy. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and starting on the first one. Nothing spoils a good story like the arrival of an eyewitness. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Never miss an opportunity to shut up. The average woman would rather have beauty than brains, because the average man can see better than he can think. The more I learn about people, the more I like my dog. Don't wrestle with pigs. You both get dirty and the pig likes it. Focus more on your desire than on your doubt, and the dream will take care of itself. The trouble with the world is not that people know too little, it's that they know so many things that just aren't so. Do not complain about growing old. It is a privilege denied to many. There are laws to protect the freedom of the press's speech, but none that are worth anything to protect the people from the press. You meet people who forget you. You forget people you meet. But sometimes you meet those people you can't forget. Those are your friends. Some people bring joy wherever they go, and some people bring joy whenever they go. To be great, truly great, you have to be the kind of person who makes the others around you great. If you have no will to change it, you have no right to criticize. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. Politicians and diapers must be changed often, and for the same reason. Life is short, break the rules. Forgive quickly, kiss slowly. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably and never regret anything that makes you smile. I was educated once, it took me years to get over it. Why waste your money looking up your family tree? Just go into politics and your opponent will do it for you. Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Never argue with stupid people, they will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. Good decisions come from experience. Experience comes from making bad decisions. Give every day the chance to become the most beautiful day of your life. When I was 17, my father was so stupid, I didn't want to be seen with him in public. When I was 24, I was amazed at how much the old man had learned in just 7 years. If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. How easy it is to make people believe a lie, and how hard it is to undo that work again. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. If voting made any difference, they wouldn't let us do it. If we were meant to talk more than listen, we would have 2 mouths and 1 ear. If you want to change the future, you must change what you're doing in the present. Worrying is like paying a debt you don't owe. The older I get, the more clearly I remember things that never happened. It's better to be an optimist who is sometimes wrong than a pessimist who is always right.